following program is intended for mature audiences.
This one dribbled back along and can be dragged onto the front. The backhander score! The Predators strike first. Keith takes the drive, fakes it again. Drive, score! Looking down low for Hagelin. Carl Hagelin walks in front, shoots. Carl Hagelin, the overtime winner, and the New York Rangers are on the second round. Kuznetsov spins, wheels right on in, holds, lifted, he scores! Yevgeny Kuznetsov, spectacular! Dropped it back in, forced around further, and then tangled and going down is Quincy to the outside and drive, score! It's covered!
Back the other way, here's David Jones, takes the shot, rebound, Ferland can't bury it, loose puck, Stajan scores!
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And download every episode and more at basicallyasportshow.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg,
Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Do I have to remind you what happened the last time a Mighty Duck tried to go against something fire-related?
A little more recent Mighty Duck versus fire-related incident. How about the 2005? No, there's no season. 2006 Stanley Cup Playoffs. I believe the Ducks beat the Flames in 7 games.
I'm drawing a blank on that one.
Yeah, they beat them in 7 games.
Ah, gotcha.
Ilya Bryzgalov was in goal. Francois Beauchemin was a rookie and punched the shit out of Jerome McGinley. It was a good series. Very fun.
That's a hate crime, I'll have you know. That is a hate crime.
He's a French-Canadian. He's a minority, too.
We've got new 49ers uniforms.
Oh, I saw those. Are those warm-ups or are those real? They're not real, right?
Those are real. That's going to be an alternate.
Oh, for God's sakes. Are you serious?
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
You haven't heard, Zach?
Oh, no.
Oh, man. Wait till you see these.
Oh, no.
Why?
Oh. Oh, God, no.
Mm-hmm.
What? Why?
Good question.
Why the black pants?
Why the black anything? They have a ring around their logo. That's the only black in their entire uniform.
Here's a quote from a team official named Samuel Lamb. The new jersey appears to be a simple recolored version of our standard uniform. Essentially, the 49ers have taken the base of their white jersey and made them black. Red numbers and stripes remain. Considering that the team's logo features black and nowhere else on the standard uniform, black seems an odd choice, but given the trend of where alternate uniforms are going in the NFL, this was the only logical direction for us to take. A gold alt would have been too difficult to mass produce and would not look great with the team's current gold, which is more of a khaki.
That was a great idea back in 1991.
They're a little late on the black jersey trend.
You know what? Mm-hmm. Screw the NFL. Just screw them. Screw football. God.
Well, it's too bad that they have that rule in place, otherwise they might have had a black helmet, too.
From what I've heard, and granted this is all in the forums, so take this with a grain of salt, but apparently they wanted to do a red and silver throwback, but the NFL's one helmet policy made that a no-go, so they just said, we'll make everything else black and keep the helmet the same.
At least the red and silver would have made sense. They used to wear that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this is just horrible.
And I thought the San Francisco 49ers were above this sort of thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They've got what I think is one of the best looks in all of football, and they got to go and do this and wear this twice a year?
Some 49ers player commented on Twitter that these new uniforms mean we mean business.
Because they didn't before that?
Yeah, I guess.
God.
Somebody better tell Colin Kaepernick that, too.
You might want to tell your team that really doesn't have hardly anybody left.
Right.
Oh, Colin Kaepernick is still the future, guys. Just you wait.
So while we're talking football, have we heard any word on I know that there was some talk that the Cleveland Browns were going to try to make a deal with my Tennessee Titans to get a deal for the number 2 pick.
They wanted to trade 2 first-round picks for the number 2 and draft Mariota.
I hope that this happens, and I'll tell you why. That would be 3 straight years the Cleveland Browns have drafted a quarterback in the first round. 3 straight.
Wait, Manziel?
Man, you had Brandon Weeden.
Oh, Brandon Whedon. Oh,
First
my
round
God.
pick,
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Johnny Manziel, and now it would be Marcus Mariota if it happens.
I mean, at least you're working your way up the scale.
I don't know where I'm at on Mariota because I was thinking about this the other day when they were talking about the draft on the radio.
Yeah.
Oregon quarterbacks, the only good one I can think of is Dan Fouts.
Yeah, I mean, Joey Harrington was all right.
Dennis Dixon
went nowhere.
No,
who was the? I don't even remember who the quarterback was before Mariota. Like DeAndre Thomas? Was that the running back?
I don't think Mariota is going to be a bust per se in the NFL, but I don't think he's the right quarterback for whatever system they've got in Cleveland, if they even have a system. I don't know.
They're going to get a system later. They're still. From my understanding, too, is that the Titans are asking for an awful lot for that pick. So I don't know if
that was something else I read
swing
too.
The deal, yeah.
Where they were asking for too much, and maybe it might be more than just those 2 first-round picks, because Tennessee's actually in a pretty good position where I guess they could use a quarterback, but they could also use other things.
Yeah,
like they probably actually want that D tackle from USC, Leonard Williams. I know he was rumored to go there for a long time in all these mock drafts I had seen up until this point, and now they have him going. I guess he really when he was declaring eligible for the draft, he posted a picture of him in a Raiders uniform because he's a Raider fan, and so he
careful what you wish for, dude.
Right? I don't know. You know what though? As I've been thinking about it, I kind of forgot that the draft was today, and I thought about it like outside of Winston Mariota, and we kind of already know that Winston's going to go number 1 unless something stupid happens. There's no intrigue in this draft for me. Sometimes you have a lot of different storylines and who's going to go where, and this guy needs a quarterback. And like even last year with Manziel, it was, well, the Cowboys are at 19. Do they trade up? Are they going to get him? Mm-hmm. You know the top talent, and everybody else is kind of there's a lot of good talent in the draft this year. It's a very talented draft for sure, but there's nobody that I'm sitting around like, oh, I need to know where this guy gets drafted or what this team does. It's like,
I don't know if I'm Tampa or Tennessee, either one. If somebody made me the right deal, I think I'd move down from that pick. I mean, these guys could be great quarterbacks, but this isn't a slam dunk like an Andrew Luck. I'd make a deal if somebody had a deal out there that I thought was worthwhile. But, yeah, other than the Mariota trade with the Browns thing, there's really not a whole lot going on that I've heard about.
Right. Well, and it's like you said, these 2 quarterbacks aren't sure things.
No.
There's a lot of question marks about both.
We don't even know if Jameis Winston will make it to his first NFL snap before getting arrested at a Tampa Bay area Publix. So
that's true.
You joke, but that's a legitimate concern.
Yeah, no, but there's the off-the-field concerns with him. There's even the on-the-field concerns with Mariota. Even though, like, I saw the Gruden quarterback camp thing with Mariota, and something that bothered Gruden, that bothers me too, is Mariota is one of those guys that is legitimately not bothered by anything. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, does this annoy you? No. Do you ever get annoyed? Not really. Yeah. Do you get mad? Do you get excited? No. You're just going out there trying to play the snaps and do what's best for the team. It's like I don't want that guy as a quarterback.
No, you don't
like,
want to.
I understand being calm under pressure, but this guy doesn't have like any pulse.
Yeah, you don't want a guy like screaming and hollering constantly like a Dan Marino or Phillip Rivers type, but you also don't want a guy that's out there that just really could care less one way or the other.
I want a Jay Cutler type personally.
No, you know what though? I would
one who gives no shit.
Like if Jay Cutler was successful, like actually talented successful, I would want a quarterback with his attitude as opposed to anybody else, because at least he gives a damn.
Yeah.
I mean, he stopped giving a damn because the team kind of was like, you know what, screw you. And he's like, fine, screw you then. I'm just going to sit on the bench. I'm
just going to light up a cigarette on the bench and escape to flavor country.
I think that a guy like Cutler is a guy that's just smart enough to know, like, look, I've got enough money now. This isn't the be-all, end-all for me. I mean, I'll be competitive when there's a reason to be, but if I'm on a shitty team and no one else is giving a fuck, why should I? I think that's kind of the way I see him. I mean, I think if it was a matter of, okay, we've got a talented team, we've got a shot at winning the Super Bowl, I think he'd be exactly what you'd want a quarterback to be, but if that's not the case, he checks out, which I don't know if I have a problem with that.
When Denver was a contender, he was good.
Yeah.
When the Bears were good his first few years there, he was fine. It's just, once somebody, especially in Chicago, if somebody starts to turn on you, it's all, it's all over from there.
But yeah, the draft is just, I don't know, it's just not, which is surprising that I forgot about it, because it's not like it's, the NFL's taking a day off from cramming it down our throats,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's just not
much going on.
Maybe it's the lack of New York City thing. Maybe it's because there's so much other stuff happening this week.
Yeah.
Like in the playoffs in both leagues, this Baltimore stuff, the Kentucky Derby, the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight. It's a loaded sports weekend, and the NFL, without a truly compelling draft, is kind of like, well, yeah, you're still the NFL, and people talk about you, but it's the NFL draft's not going to be something that's on the top of everybody's rundown.
And it's very telling that the top 2 projected draft picks aren't even going to be in Chicago.
Exactly.
And I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to shake Roger Goodell's hand either on national television, but that's just another thing altogether. But
there's plenty of other guys that will be there that are going to hug him and be like, oh my God, I'm so excited to be in the National Football League.
Hugging Roger Goodell, that would be like the most uncomfortable robotic hug.
Hello, welcome to my league. Domestic violence seminars.
Welcome to my league. The soul closet is over there.
Yeah,
you go put your soul in there to play in my league. Yeah,
but please give us your direct deposit number so we can take the fines out of your paycheck.
No, the thing that I'm more interested in NFL in terms of NFL news. Well, let's talk about the 2016 Super Bowl champions, the Dallas Cowboys.
What do you want to talk about them?
Did they win it already?
Tony Romo declared that they were going to win.
Oh yeah, I heard that. But you know what? It was an innocuous thing.
The whole guarantee thing. It was great.
Everyone guarantees everything.
When Namath did it, it was cool. I don't recall anybody really making a big public, proclamation of a guarantee until Messier did it with the Rangers in '94, and since then,
Daniel Alfredson. Last time the Leafs played the Senators, Daniel Alfredson promised everyone that the Senators were going to win Game 7, and then the Leafs beat them like 5-2. So
yeah, I mean that's what happens. It's like nowadays everybody's guaranteeing everything, and their success rate's about 20%.
Yeah,
yeah, but
does anyone need bulletin board material against the Cowboys?
Nah, I would think not.
Does this bring any more pressure to the Cowboys than they already have every single season?
I don't know. Like, honestly, after the successive string of disappointments, like, if I were Tony Romo, my emotional state would just be covered in scar tissue, and I wouldn't even register the pressure anymore. I'd just be dead inside.
I don't know. This year they actually won a game, and then you go into the playoffs, and they there were one awful, terrible call.
Hey,
beating the Packers.
Maybe beating the Packers.
I have it.
Go ahead.
I have it on the authority of football experts that there was not a football move or a move common to the game of football.
These football experts, were they all in Green Bay that you talked to, or what?
No, they were all wearing black and white striped shirts. They seemed to know what they were talking about.
And then you look at the way. Then you look at the way the next game went with the Packers and Seahawks. Maybe I would give the Cowboys as good a shot to in that game and beat.
I mean, the Packers almost took that. So yeah,
right, exactly, and that's what I mean. Is the Cowboys held their own with the Packers, could have beaten them, probably should have, and then you put them in the next week, and who knows? It's a different team, different matchup, but. If things were to go the same way, then the Cowboys would have been just as much in that game, and they could have gone
maybe the Cowboys.
And then Tony Romo could have thrown the game-ending interception.
Oh, wouldn't that have been perfect? If they
it would have been the best. The best.
If that game put the Cowboys in the Seahawks spot, that game plays out exactly as it did.
Oh my
and Tony
God.
Romo throws the game.
That episode of Basically a Football Show would be just ending yesterday. We'd still be talking about it so much.
See, hand the ball off to DeMarco Murray inside the one, or throw it. It'd be the same. It's the same problem.
Honestly, though, I think the Cowboys were a better matchup for the Seahawks than the Packers were. I think they would have had I mean, the Packers played great for 55 minutes, and then I don't know what happened. I don't want to talk about it, but I think the Cowboys matched up better. I don't know if that game's. I mean, I'm sure it would have been tight and all, but I don't think the Cowboys would have hacked it up like that.
Like I said, different team, different matchup. You don't know what's going to happen, but
yeah,
it's an interesting thing to think about.
It is. And him throwing the interception in Russell Wilson's place. Oh my God, that poor bastard would have just had to go out and kill himself at that point, wouldn't he?
Oh,
I mean, what else does he do?
Imagine that happens. He throws the interception, and then we cut to a pissed off Jerry Jones in the owner's box.
Oh, that'd be something. Yeah.
Jerry Jones might have actually killed him on the spot.
Damn you, NFL officials, for costing us a shot at that. So round 1 of the Stanley Cup Playoffs is in the books. What do we think?
I think that I got 7 out of the 8 series correct.
Did you?
Yeah. Which one did you miss?
St. Louis.
Yeah, welcome to the club.
In retrospect, it was a dumb idea to pick the Blues. Guess who picked the Blues to win in the second round, too? Oh, me. That was me.
See, you fell for the same thing I fall for with them every single freaking year.
Yeah.
I look at them and I go, this is their year. Go ahead, Mike. It happens to me every time with this team.
I picked the Wild, and then last week on the show, I was like, no, I'm changing it. I think the Blues pull it out because I assumed that I thought that they're going to take advantage of Minnesota's shaky goaltending situation, but nope.
No, and it seems like Dubnik's okay now.
Dubnik's fine.
A Vezina Trophy finalist, by the way.
Yeah. No, actually, with the way they're playing and the way that their opponents, the Blackhawks, are playing, the Wild have a better shot in this series than people may have thought of, or at least than they did the last 2 years that they played them.
I think 3 years that they played.
I think the Wild's got a shot
this is
at
the third. No, definitely.
But when I always
all of a sudden Chicago's a sieve.
Yeah,
they simply outscored Nashville in that series. Is what happened.
That goes back to what we talked about right after Game 1 of that series, where I just don't think Nashville had the mentality where what were they up 3-1? Or it was 2-1 when Chicago scored, and then Chicago got it to 2-1. And then Nashville got another goal to go back up 3-1. You're thinking, I think a team with more, I don't even know what the word is I'm looking for here. Moxie, I suppose, or whatever. They're going to shut it down at that point and ratchet it up and go, okay, now we're going to put these guys away. And what happens is what Chicago seemed to be doing to them the whole series. They'd come back and it seemed like they're almost like, okay, it's time for us to score. I can almost see why Blackhawks fans get panicked the way they do, because it does seem like that team just kind of stands around and all of a sudden goes, we better get a goal. And then it's like watching somebody storm the beaches of Normandy. They fire shots all over the place, get their goal, and go right back to sleep again. So
exactly.
Yeah, it's really something.
Well,
we talked about the Ducks. I don't know how long the Blackhawks can pull that off.
That's why I think the Wild have a good enough shot. If the Blackhawks continue to play like they did in that first series, they're going to be in trouble.
Well, it's going to come down. Okay, it's going to come down to Devin Dubnyk, because if he reverts to Edmonton, Devin Dubnyk, this isn't even going to be close.
I watched the Wild a couple times, saw them once in person. I have not really seen the Purds at all until the playoffs. Am I out of line in thinking that Minnesota's a better team defensively than Nashville?
I think Minnesota's more, like I said, they're structured. They're more defensively sound. They're not a trap team, but they play within themselves.
That's what I meant. I just, again, based on a very small sample size, I look at Minnesota and I think they just seem to be more capable of containing the Chicago offense when it decides it wants to do what it does.
They play more of a playoff style of game than Nashville did, for sure.
I don't know. Nashville, I still can't wrap my head around Nashville, honestly, just because what Zach said. For the longest time, they were this boring trap team.
Oh yeah, I remember it was the what was it, the 41-41 or 41 thing they were trying in the lockout season or whatever it was.
Yeah, we're going to try to we're going to lose in overtime every game and make the playoffs.
82 points.
Yeah, there you go. But I'm not really sure. And incidentally, I think that's sort of what led to their downfall, in that this was a great first outing for the quote unquote new Nashville Predators, but it's still a first outing.
Right. They'll be back.
They're going to be back. They're going to be better.
Yeah.
But, they're going to be back.
Get some time, get some more offensive talent in there, and more time getting into the system and learning how to play with each other that way.
And honestly, this is going to sound really silly, but I think there's some truth to it. Just getting better at being a top-tier team.
Yeah.
Right.
When you are an elite team, there are certain expectations put on you, and given how long Nashville's kind of been this middling team, honestly, for a lot of guys who have been there a while, from the mentality side of things, it's going to take a while to get used to being, that team that everyone expects to do great things.
I do think, though, that the Purds really, considering how things went in that first game, I thought they did pretty well for themselves for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
Because they really could have folded the tents and it could have gotten really ugly, and it never really did. So I thought that was pretty impressive on their part.
Yep.
And then I just want to say that in the Detroit-Tampa Bay series, I incorrectly picked every single game in that series. Every single one.
They alternated until Game 7.
I know. But it was like, it was like a game where I thought Detroit should win or Tampa should win, Detroit would win. Then I go, okay, Tampa, and I missed every single one, including Game 7 last night, where I thought, you know what, Detroit's going to just do what Detroit does, and they're going to win this game, and nope.
And Detroit outplayed them for the first 2/3 of the game.
Yeah.
Detroit was carrying the play. They just couldn't score. Tampa was playing well, but Detroit was blocking everything.
Detroit was successfully smothering Tampa. I'll tell you what turned it around, I thought, was that in the third period, Tampa finally started – well, they kept shooting the damn puck. They finally started shooting. For the longest time, in the first two periods, Tampa would have these really good rushes, but they just try to get too cute, they get too focused on trying to make the cute passing play, and Detroit would just smother it, clear the zone.
Yep. No, they made it simple. They started dumping the puck. They got in harder on the forecheck, won the puck in the corner, and then threw it back out for some shots. And they got them through, and they got the one goal, and then they get the empty netter off a weird bounce off the stanchion, and they move on to round 2.
And the magic of Grover Norquist, we'll have to wait till next year.
Yeah, and might have seen Mike Babcock's last game behind the bench for the Wings.
Really?
Come to Toronto. Come on.
Well, Toronto can offer him all the monies because supposedly he wants to be the first NHL coach to get paid like $5 million.
MLSC, if they can do anything, they can afford that.
But the other thing is Mike Babcock probably wants to go to a team that's more ready to win a championship in the next couple of years.
Yeah,
I don't know, though. I mean, is Toronto really that far away at this point?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, because I'm just thinking it was 2 years ago, and I hate to bring this up, Mike, but 2 years ago, they were really kind of a meltdown against the Bruins moving on in the playoffs.
Right.
So, but I don't know.
I think that was probably for the worst for them because it gave them higher expectations.
Yeah, okay.
That they probably didn't need to have.
Kind of like the Sharks, maybe. Like it extended something that needed to be done a little too long.
Yeah, the Maple Leafs should have been blowing this up a while ago, but
okay.
Were
you guys surprised by any of the results in the first round?
No.
I'm not surprised if the Tampa-Detroit result. I'm surprised it went to 7 games. I thought Tampa would have this in 5 easy.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say, too. I'm not surprised Tampa won, but I'm surprised it took them this long. The other one I'm a little bit surprised by is, it was a 4-1 series, but I thought the Rangers had a tougher time with Pittsburgh than anybody thought they were going to.
The Rangers didn't play at their best, but I'd say, honestly, the biggest surprise in that series was that Marc-Andre Fleury didn't completely melt down in the playoffs.
Yeah.
No. But he also didn't steal any games for them.
Yeah, but when you're at this point in his career, in Marc-Andre Fleury's career, not screwing up too badly is the best you can hope for. The fact, asking him to actually steal a game might be asking a bit too much.
Yeah. I tell you what,
Crosby had the 1-2 goal game, and that was their one win. And but I mean, that's the other thing. The Penguins just didn't really show up, and they had some injuries to their defensive side with Chris Letang not playing and stuff like that. But Crosby only had the one really good game. Malkin was non-existent. The Rangers are going to have a tougher time against the Caps because I think the Caps are actually playing very well despite that series with the Islanders going 7.
That was another series where it's just in terms of sentimentality, I wanted to see the Islanders move on.
Yeah, me too.
I wanted to see the Islanders move on, extend the Coliseum's run, have the Rangers Islanders series. That would be fun.
There's still Game 8 for the Islanders to come back in this.
Right. There's still Game 8.
What happens if Washington wins that one too, though? Then what? There is no Game 9. There is no Game 9. No, that hasn't been announced.
Game 9 hasn't been announced yet. Game 8 has.
Right. There's still a Game 8. There is no Game 9. And what happens if they tie? What happens if the Islanders win?
Aggregate goals.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure there was a plan in place.
Yeah.
All right, good.
No, they pull out the soccer rules and go aggregate goals.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure. I got to be honest. I'm trying really hard to care about this Rangers team, but I just don't.
There's nothing really to grab you.
I mean,
maybe Marty St. Louis' dad can die this season, and that'll give everyone something to.
It's funny because this was my team for like 22 years.
Yeah.
And when I made the switch, I thought, well, I just don't care. I mean, I don't want them to do poorly or anything, but win, lose, or draw. I mean, like if they lose to the Caps, well, I'm all right with that. If they, whatever, if they make it to the final and they lose to either Montreal or Tampa, I'm fine with that too. I don't have a horse in the race anymore, and I feel kind of bad about it. I even took down my Rangers avatar. I just thought, this is a lie. I'm living a lie.
Unless they're playing Calgary, I'll be rooting for the Rangers if they manage to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, based off of what I had last year, which is that the Kitchener Rangers, New York Rangers, close. I could break my Kitchener Rangers jersey out, and it works.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Hint. They're not going to play the Flames.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah.
Hey! Because of what happened last night, the 2004 rematch is still on.
Yeah, that's true. Because that's what everyone's craving for. The Calgary-Tampa Bay series rematch.
I'll tell you.
It set the world on fire. An electrified crowd last night.
Yeah, I can't wait for the Ducks to extinguish the Flames.
If you guys haven't caught on by now, the listeners, our writing staff's on vacation this week. That's why you're hearing all this stuff.
Yeah, I also don't care about this Rangers Cap series in general. This is the fourth time they've met in the last 8 years. I've seen this series before, and it's largely the same cast of characters. And it's like,
yeah, I for one can't wait to see Ovechkin choke against the Rangers again.
Yeah. Oh, hey, will Ovechkin score on Henrik Lundqvist?
Probably not.
Will the Rangers crumble under high expectations?
Probably.
I think I picked in my bracket. I think I picked the Caps to beat the Rangers, and then lose in the conference final. So I don't know.
Who do you have coming out of the East? Tampa. Wow.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too with this other series. In the regular season, Tampa Bay was 5-0 against Montreal, and they lit up Carey Price every.
Playoffs are a different animal altogether.
Trust me, I know, but it wasn't just that they won the games; they lit up Carey Price in every single game they played.
In all honesty, the thing that concerns me about Tampa going up against Montreal is that in that Detroit series, Steven Stamkos was nowhere to be found.
I think he's injured.
Maybe
he looks injured. He's not lining up for those one-timers, not just slapping the puck on goal like he normally does.
But
Tyler Johnson was.
He's having a pretty good
amazing.
series. We're having a pretty good series, yeah.
My point being, though, that Montreal Canadiens, second top team in the East, Carey Price, a gold medal winning goalie. This isn't the team that you can really afford to have your number one goal scorer just kind of not show up against.
And Ben Bishop wasn't exactly a pillar of confidence.
It was weird. There were games where he was just absolutely awful, but then there were games where he looked solid.
He was solid. He wasn't amazing.
I don't know. These two series. I mean, I'd like to see. I don't have a problem with any of these teams going on really in the East.
I still think it's the Rangers are going to come out of the East. They've just got a complete team in a way that I don't think Tampa does, and I don't think Montreal does either. I just have no confidence in Ovechkin and the Capitals in the playoffs. I mean, they're the Sharks East at this point.
They did look different in that Game 7 than they have in past Game 7s, though.
Well, they won. That was the important
that also helps. that helps. I don't know. But I like Tampa, or if not Tampa, I think Montreal beats whoever wins that other series.
So basically you think whoever wins this Tampa-Montreal series is probably coming out of the East?
Yeah, and plus I would like to see I think Tampa's better, but I would also like to see the Habs in a final again.
That'd be great.
We're missing one series here, guys, and I think it's
Blackhawks Wild, right?
The series that we've all been waiting for.
Right, Blackhawks Wild.
Your future. No, okay, I'm not going to say that yet.
I'll say your future Stanley Cup champions, the Minnesota Wild. There you go.
The Calgary Flames.
We're missing Anaheim and Calgary.
You're going tonight, right?
Going tonight?
Yeah.
Of course. Game 1, I'll be there.
Mike, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yelling at Jonas Hiller?
Okay, here's the thing.
I'm sorry, I'm just warming up. Hiller.
It's weird because
You suck.
It's weird because, in a lot of ways, I see a lot of similarities between these two teams. One, they both wear the same jersey.
Sort of, kind of. Calgary's got a little bit more unnecessary bells and whistles to it.
They do. They
do look an awful lot alike, don't they?
Yeah, I know. It's the side panels,
right,
and then the cuffs, the sleeve cuffs. They are very similar.
What the Ducks need now is the state of California's flag on the shoulder. That'll really tie the whole look together. But in both cases, both teams like to live on the edge. Both teams like to come back late. And
I called Calgary the poor man's Anaheim in that way. Yeah.
That game 6 where they beat Vancouver, they were down 3-0 at one point.
They were down 3-0 and won 7-4.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, if you take that, then you consider, how the Ducks were trailing for 67% of the time in that Winnipeg series.
After the first 3 games, they only led for a total of 11 minutes.
Yes.
So at that point, what's going to happen? Are they going to drop the puck and both sides are going to be afraid to do anything? No, you do something.
No,
we got the bag. Don't worry.
We're going to talk to the referees, and both teams are going to agree there will be no first or second period played. We'll only play 20 minutes of the third period and go home.
Well, that's good. I don't have to stay up as late watching it that way. So
right. Yeah. Exactly. I don't know. I still think they're similar in the way that they've won the games, but from a straight matchup perspective, the Ducks are deeper. The Ducks are more talented.
Matt Stage is going to make you pay. Just watch.
Matt Stage is going to make you pay.
Yuri Hudler.
The Ducks have got a lot more depth scoring, whereas Calgary is still very much a one-line team in terms of skill with Johnny Gaudreau and Sean Monahan and Yuri Hudler. It's going to be harder than the Winnipeg series, but I think it's still a similar thing where at the end of it, I still think the Ducks are going to win the games and end up winning the series.
If it goes anything like they have, where they're both living on the edge like this, it should be really damned exciting, if nothing else.
But that's the thing, too, is if the games play out like they have, and it comes down to who's going to be the better team in the third period, I still give it to the Ducks. I mean, I'm biased, obviously, but I just think that the Ducks have been here and done that before. And while the Flames have the kind of, we don't know what we're doing, we don't know that we're not supposed to be doing this sort of vibe to them, the Ducks know that this is what we do. Go ahead and try it, and we'll crush you at it.
The big thing where I think both teams are actually really similar is it comes down to goaltending. Because honestly, I do not think that the Ducks have made a significant upgrade since they let Jonas Hiller go. It's now look, Gibson's my boy. Okay,
he's the Ranger.
I know, but I'm just saying I'm bringing him up in the context of the wider Ducks goaltending situation. Mm-hmm. Anderson being their starter,
right?
They're both fine goalies in their own right, but they're very much in that Jonas Hiller mold where you're basically a game manager quarterback, to use a football analogy. You're serviceable, you can get the job done, but am I going to look to you to steal a game? No, not really. And
yeah, I see what you're saying. I saw Jonas Hiller for a long time, and I know that he can be abjectly terrible sometimes. He can be really hot and stop everything. But one of the reasons why I was okay with letting Hiller go is I always thought that while he was a very good goalie, to me he always lacked that extra edge that you need to be that next level type goalie. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if Anderson or Gibson have that yet. They haven't really played long enough to prove that they have it. Mm-hmm. I think Gibson might have it, but he's not going to be the starter. And that's another thing is if Anderson does falter, they can turn to Gibson. If Hiller falters, they turn to Kari Ramo.
Hey, Kari Ramo bailed him out. So
yeah.
You don't...
Again, regular season, postseason.
No. I'm talking about Game 6 against Vancouver.
Oh, well, yeah. That's why I thought that Hiller wasn't going to start the series, but they said he's going to start it. So.
I mean, honestly, at this point, if I'm being brutally honest about Calgary's goaltending situation at this point, it's probably a coin flip.
Any question you're going to ask me about, I'm going to spin it my own way. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible here.
No, you don't have to do that. It's not like the Bass audience doesn't know you're a Ducks fan.
Well, I'm not trying to say, be unbiased. I mean, just not say ridiculous Homer things.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. Our audience expects it.
Ryan Getzlaf's Wayne Gretzky.
It's why
I like to call him Ryan Gretzloff.
Oh,
it's like why I, without a shred of shame, am predicting your 2016 Stanley Cup champion Toronto Maple Leafs. So, you just
You had something you wanted to get in there, Greg?
Actually, it was about the goaltending thing. If I remember right, because we were talking about this back when fantasy season started, that the hopes for Gibson, they were very high. And then he injured or something, and then he got sent down for a little bit. But he didn't turn out quite to be what I think everybody expected he was going to be this year.
Well, I think, to be honest,
not his own fault or anything, but it was just a confluence of events.
Yeah, I think he needed a little bit more seasoning. What happened was he played the very first game of the season. He probably shouldn't have played the very first game of the season.
Because he got lit up pretty good, if I remember right.
Well, because what it was the very first game of the season, like season opener, and it was in his hometown of Pittsburgh against the Penguins, and he got lit up. He looked like he was kind of shell-shocked. Then he said, well, since we're already on the East Coast, just send me down to the minors for a couple games so I can get my bearings on me, and then I'll come back. And he came back and he played pretty well. And then he tore his groin.
Right.
When I was at the game in Colorado, and the Ducks had no backup goaltender.
Oh, I remember that.
So Jason LaBarbera had to start, and then Dwayne Rollison suited up as the backup goaltender. Right? So he was rehabbing that all season. Came back with like a month left, and he played pretty well in the games that he played. But it was at that point in the season, Frederik Andersen had played more games and was just more comfortable in that. So they said, okay, Freddie's going to be the starter. If things turn bad, we'll turn to Gibson. But Freddie's been here. He's earned the number one spot for the playoffs. And in the Winnipeg series, he didn't have to really play spectacularly and win any games for them by himself. But he made the saves when they needed to be made, and he played well.
That was my point, though. Like as Mike said, it wasn't a significant upgrade, but it was intended. The idea was that it would be an upgrade over Hiller, and it just didn't turn out to be one quite so much.
I think when it comes to the decision time where they're going to have to pick one or the other, I think that's in 2 years. Both their contracts are up at the same time. I think at the end of it, they're going to go with Gibson.
I mean, unless he turns out to be an utter bust, you kind of have to.
Right. He still has the most upside. He's still young. He's the next great American hope in net.
Someone had to replace Mike Richter eventually.
I was just going to say the new Mike Richter.
Mike Richter, Ryan Miller before him. Yeah.
Hey, Ryan Miller is no Mike Richter. I may not be the Rangers fan I used to be, but you just don't. No one's better than my boy Mike Richter.
No. Ryan Miller. Ask Ryan Miller how
in the Olympics. And he still just uses Rangers mask because it still fit.
Yeah, it was the Statue of Liberty.
Right. It was like, no need to get a new Olympic mask. You just use your Ranger mask.
Best goalie mask ever.
That's just much more classy than Ryan Miller's spray-painted Uncle Sam, flexing.
You didn't like the flexing bald eagle in Uncle Sam?
No.
Going to kick some American ass.
But anyway, back to the series.
Let's make some picks.
Yeah, I was just going to say. Well, should we start? Well, let's leave the Calgary and the Ducks for last because that'll be the most fun. It'll make Zach sweat out what we're going to say.
How about Montreal and Tampa?
The Club de Hockey Canadien?
I like the Habs in that one. I'm going to go with Montreal. I'm going to say I wanted to say 5. I'm going to say 6 games. The Habs take it in 6.
I'm going to say Habs in 7. I think, Montreal swept the season series, but this is the playoffs, man. This is the playoffs. And Steven Stamkos, if you're right, Zach, if he's not at 100%, if he doesn't get to be 100%, he won't be able – because let's face it, Detroit was not a premier team this season. Montreal was. If Steven Stamkos, if the Lightning's top goal scorer, if he disappears again, Montreal's going to make him pay for it.
I picked Tampa Bay in my bracket, so I'm going to have to stick with Tampa Bay just because I'm a man of principle. I'd say Tampa in 6.
Okay.
The series nobody wanted to see again, but we have it. Rangers Caps.
I'm going to say Rangers. Capitals need to prove to me they can do crap in the playoffs. Like they're going to have to prove to me they're not the Sharks before I give them a chance at anything.
Yeah, I'm tempted to say the Caps, but I'm not getting suckered in like I did with the Blues again. I'm taking the Rangers. Although I think the Caps make a decent show. I'm going to say the Rangers in 6.
I'll say the Rangers. I'm gonna say 7. In my opinion, both Eastern Conference series are gonna go 7 games.
That'd be cool.
I picked the Capitals in my bracket, and I am sticking the Capitals with conviction in 6 games.
Okay, why? Just out of curiosity, what's the reasoning for it?
They have a different air about them than the past, and the Rangers. If the Rangers hit their stride, then it's going to be a lot tougher. But like you said, the Rangers just didn't. They beat the Penguins, and I think they beat them handily, but they still didn't look like they were.
They weren't impressive, were they?
Right, they weren't fully together.
Yeah,
I think this Capitals team plays with a little bit more structure thanks to Barry Trotz. I think Ovechkin's playing well. Kuznetsov has come on strong for them. Brooks Orpik's playing really great on defense for them, and Braden Holtby has actually been pretty good. I like what the Caps
been amazing.
I like what the Caps are selling this year. I like him to at least make the conference final.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Into the Western Conference, Minnesota and Chicago.
This one's tough because as much as we can point to Chicago's flaws this playoffs and this season in general, really, they haven't been lighting it up. At the same time, they've been the premier team for so long, it's kind of hard to pick against them until they stumble.
Yeah, I agree.
This is tough. I'm going to say Chicago, but conditionally. It's going to be Chicago if Corey Crawford can actually get his head out of his ass and actually play some inspired goaltending.
See, that was my thinking on the Blackhawks. You know, the goaltending was an issue in the first series, but here's the thing. Those guys, if Chicago's offense can score the way they do, they don't have to be great. They just have to be adequate in net. It's hard to pick against them, but you know what? I abandoned my Minnesota Wild last week with the Blues. I'm sorry I ever doubted them. I'm sticking with them. I'm taking my Minnesota Wild. It's going to have to be 6 because if it goes 7, they'll never win in Chicago. So I'm going to say in 6.
I think this is easily going to be the best series of the 4. As far as my pick in the series, like I said, best series in the thing. It's going to be tight. But I don't know if this Blackhawks team is the same as the past Blackhawks teams.
You getting on the Wild bandwagon with me?
Wild.
All right.
In 6.
Okay. All right.
Wild in 6.
And now we have the Calgary Flames taking on the Anaheim Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. I'll give you the honor on this one.
All right. I'm going to say the Ducks. I feel Ducks in 6. Honestly, that just feels about right.
I'm going to go one better than that. I think the Ducks in 5. I think this Ducks team, I wasn't sold on them. I'm still not entirely sold on them, but I look at the rest of the field in the West, and I think, you know what? They're still the best team in the bunch. So I'm taking them in 5.
Flames in 1. By that, I mean Ducks in 5.
Okay.
Bruce Boudreau makes his first conference final.
I liked Greg's reasoning on the boards, though, in one of the reasons why he thought Calgary could do it. They've got an arena named the Saddle Dome.
That's true. That is true. And I just think it's like the coolest thing ever. So despite all that, as much as I love you, Calgary, I got to go with the Ducks. I'm sorry. And if you win, all the better, but I don't think you're going to.
You men have picked valiantly and smartly.
If not reluctantly, but yes.
No, you've made the right decision.
I know. I don't think we're comfortable with our decision. I think we bet with our heads instead of our hearts. I think with this.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm glad that people are starting to realize that. Oh, the Ducks are okay. They're not evil.
We didn't say that.
Yeah, they're not evil. They're not evil. They're just not the good guys in some particular stories. It just dawned on me. Anaheim Ducks originally started off named after the Disney movie, and in the Disney movie, the Ducks were always the plucky underdog team, and then
even though you think a team that kept winning championships would stop being the underdog, but
no, they always were the underdog. They always were the underdog, but they stopped because those damn Icelandians, would always get up in their grills. But
that dictatorship of Iceland that we have to dethrone,
the totalitarian hellhole that is Iceland.
Well, you know what happened there.
Iceland's the one that's green. Right?
Yeah.
And Greenland's the one that's icy, that never made any sense to me, but okay.
It's an old Viking tourist trap, basically. They wanted people to go settle in Greenland.
Okay.
So they were like, hey, it's green. What more do you need?
Right. It's exactly what you think it is, which is funny.
But with the Ducks, I just find it funny that the team named after this movie franchise of plucky underdogs became the evil team dressed in black, crushing the plucky underdogs.
It's too bad that Vancouver couldn't have been another division and we could have beaten all of Western Canada.
You say that until the Connor McDavid-led Oilers smash you.
Yeah, no. See, that's the thing. We have to get our wins in before Edmonton starts winning.
I tell you what, if Edmonton starts winning again, I am right on that bandwagon, man.
They've got that Wayne Gretzky statue. Maybe they can build a Connor McDavid statue next to it.
There you go.
I know somebody else that would jump right back on that bandwagon, but
Who? Cujo?
Oh yeah.
I've always been an Oilers fan, guys.
Except for that one time I moved 50 miles outside of L.A. and became a Kings fan.
He was a Kings fan. He not even while they were winning the Cup. While they were winning, he was kind of like, well, maybe I'll be a Kings fan. Then after they won the Stanley Cup, he's like, hi, I'm on the Kings bandwagon now.
No, you're not allowed to do that.
Okay.
You have to jump on the bandwagon while a team is – I mean, I suppose you can jump on after they win a championship, but to get any kind of respect at all, you've got to do it when they're not so good. Like I did with the Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets were nothing when I made my switch of allegiances, and now
and,
I can't wait for next year. I got to be honest.
You live in Ohio. Not just that you live in Ohio. You've always lived in Ohio.
I lived in upstate New York for 6 years. That's where I got into the Rangers. But after that, back here, it just made more sense for me to be a Jackets fan. I go to their games, and
no one's going to blame you for switching to the hometown team.
No,
and
not at all.
And nobody is ever going to accuse anyone in Ohio of being a front runner. Oh, yeah.
Well, with the Cavs, maybe.
Buckeyes, if you want to go that route. But yeah.
Anyway.
Or if you're LeBron James and you live your whole life in Ohio and then suddenly become like a Yankees and Cowboys fan.
Speaking of LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers, should we donate 5 minutes to the NBA?
Yeah, sure. We got to talk about the North. By the way, apparently Chi-Town is Draft Town.
Ah, okay. It sounds like their writers are out on strike this week, too.
That's the NFL slogan.
All right, are we ready?
Sure. Let's breeze through this.
Okay. As I said when we came out of the other segment, we will donate 5 minutes to the NBA. Not dedicate, mind you, but donate, because in my mind, the first round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs has already provided about 80% more excitement than this entire train wreck's going to give us. But okay.
Yes.
Hey, the Toronto Raptors had 4 more playoff games than the Toronto Maple Leafs did this season.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys got swept?
The North got swept by the 5th-seeded Wizards.
Wow. It's the Wizards, by the way. Wizards, yes.
Yeah. You mean the Washington R logo now has nothing to do with our team name?
The Washington anal penetration? Yeah. The Washington Bullets.
Because that's who they are anyway at this point.
Such a great name and great uniforms. And
well, they're basically the Bullets now. They have Bullets uniforms, only they just put Wizards on the front because they thought that would fool people. But
we need the.
They could be the Baltimore Bullets, and nobody would know the difference now.
They won a title once, anyway.
They did.
They did. But so Mike, tell me how the highest scoring offense in the NBA didn't win a game.
So what happened was the playoffs started.
What happened was the Maple Leafs suited up as the Raptors.
Phil Kessel was out there. Oh, God, can you imagine Phil Kessel in a basketball uniform?
Why don't you go talk to John Wall and leave me alone, eh?
You leave Dion alone.
Leave Kyle Lowry alone, right? He just plays well every time.
He tries hard.
You just give him such a hard time. It's like, come on, man.
I'm surprised they got swept. That's wild.
It's almost what Detroit was doing to Tampa in a few of their games in that series, where Washington they had the perfect game plan. They just completely smothered that high-scoring offense.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just a case where they knew exactly how to counter it, and nobody on Toronto had any idea how to adjust. So they kept just throwing themselves against a brick wall. And after 4 games, that the Northern Rebellion is over.
Man, they lose. They lost by 31 in that last game?
Yeah, it was never. It wasn't even like the Winnipeg sweep where you could say the Jets were in almost every game. Like, no, the Raptors just got their asses handed to them.
Maybe this series also started off a rap beef. The rapper Wale, he's the creative director for the Washington Wizards.
Oh, okay. So basically, Jay-Z comes on to the Nets, and now every team scrambers to find a local rapper or two.
Yeah, the Cavs are talking about grabbing Vanilla Ice since he's out there and he's cheap.
Oh, God, that would be the most Ohio thing. Like, Toronto's got Drake, Brooklyn's got Jay-Z. Oh, no, we got Vanilla Ice.
Who were those kids that wore their pants backwards back in the 90s? Crisscross, that's who we're going to get. Yeah, we're going to get Crisscross. There you go.
I would love that, to see Vanilla Ice out there rapping before a Cavs playoff game.
How perfectly
just sucking
Cleveland,
the joy out of the building.
How perfectly Cleveland would that be? Come on. That would be so awesome.
Ice Baby, just or maybe Go Ninja Go from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie.
So the Wizards sweep out the Raptors. The Wizards will play whoever feels like winning the Atlanta-Brooklyn series.
Yeah, it's whatever.
No team's really interested. The Nets lost the first 2 in Atlanta. Atlanta went on to lose the next two in Brooklyn. Atlanta won back in Atlanta. Now they're playing Game 6 in Brooklyn tomorrow night, excuse me. The Atlanta Hawks, who were the talk of the NBA, running through the Eastern Conference, now they can't even beat the below 500 Brooklyn Nets in a timely fashion.
Well, the East is just reverting to being the East again, it sounds like.
Well, you know what? And the thing that sucks is, so just to get the rest of these through quickly, because I know we're not going to break these things down. So Atlanta can't seem to close out Brooklyn. Chicago was up 3-2 on Milwaukee and can't close out the damn Bucks.
They were up 3-0 on Milwaukee at some point, weren't they?
Right. Yeah.
I still want Milwaukee. Well, I heard too. I was listening to Dan Patrick the other day, and I think I heard something along the lines of Derrick Rose is pacing himself.
Oh God, Derrick Rose! Shut the hell up and play basketball. Don't slow down because Jesus told you to. Trust me, he doesn't care.
This guy, I don't care how talented he could potentially be. As long as he's pulling stuff like this, I don't think he's worth the headache. I'm sorry, I just don't. But I don't know enough about it. I'm just saying.
And despite all that, the team that everyone had picked to just kind of run roughshod through the playoffs and represent the East in the finals, maybe even win, the Cavaliers, they sweep the Celtics 4-0. But now Kevin Love is out 4 to 6 months because of a dislocated shoulder. Yeah, I think that's it for the Cavs, probably. Well, the Cavs are probably still going to win the East, but they're not going to win the finals without Kevin Love. They're not going to beat whoever comes out of the West without him. Well, who would they have to play? They'd have to either play they'd play Chicago or Milwaukee. Okay. In the next round. See, that's the thing. If Chicago, maybe the Wizards in the final. If Derrick Rose is in fact pacing himself, as they put it, or whatever, and he decides to play full on, Chicago, I think, if the Cavs are without Kevin Love, Chicago's got more than enough talent to beat them, I think. Maybe. I still think Cleveland's probably still better. LeBron is still LeBron. We're all just waiting until the Cavs play the Spurs. We all know it. Well, this could be the Patrick Ewing theory, too. You never know. They might get a whole lot better without Kevin Love. True. Yeah. Speaking of the Spurs, go over to the West. Houston beat Dallas 4-1. Pretty easy. The only thing that really come out of this Houston series, did you see the tweet by the Houston Rockets? No. That got their social media manager fired? Oh, no. Must be a good one. The Houston Rockets tweeted out a picture. It was racist, wasn't it? No. Oh. It was a horse emoji followed up by a gun emoji with the words, "Shh, close your eyes. It'll all be over soon." Ooh. This was at the beginning of Game 5. Oh, man. Just like, shh, it's okay. It's okay. We're going to take you up behind the barn. Wow. So some people couldn't see the emoji, and maybe it sounded a little rapey. Either way, that tweet got somebody fired. And well, I understand violence against animals, and maybe if you don't see the emojis, it sounds a little rapey, but that's not fireable. Come on. It is. It shouldn't be, probably, but in this day and age, it is, because especially big organizations like that are so conscious of their online brand and all that thing. So a lot of these places are also trying to be like the LA Kings were and push the boundaries. Yeah. And sometimes they just push a little too far and you end up with that. But right. They could have done something else, just like say we're going to take you out behind the barn. Oh, yeah. They didn't have to do that. I don't know. Do the emojis make it better or worse? I think they make it better. It's less rapey. It's less rapey, but it's still basically the message is we're going to take you out back and put a bullet in your head, horse or otherwise. I don't know if that's necessarily the thing you want to send out as a quote-unquote family organization. Maybe they're looking to cater the 18 and up crowd. It'll be like, it's just going to be like, come to a Rockets game. It's Rockets after dark. Yeah, they're going to do a heel turn. That'd be cool. Golden State had our Pelicans didn't even win a game, did they? No, the Pelicans got swept. They had a good shot there in Game 3, but they blew a 20-point lead in the fourth quarter. Ouch. That'll usually do you in. Steph Curry made just the most amazing shot at the end of that game to tie it. I'm telling you, man, I like this Golden State team a lot. They get to play the Memphis Grizzlies, who beat the Blazers 4-1. Wow. Pretty simply. We picked Memphis in that, didn't we? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Did we? I don't remember anything else. I don't either, honestly. Sure we did. Okay. Sure we did. Nobody's going to check. Yeah. This is why we never post our predictions on any of our threads or our Facebook page or Twitter, none of that stuff. We never do that because then we're not accountable for any of them. So you get Warriors, Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are good. Grizzlies are better than I mean, they're a better competition than the Pelicans were.
Right.
But Steph Curry, man, he just does so much stuff for that Golden State team. I probably Warriors in 6.
I'd go along with that. Maybe even 5.
Yeah.
I tell you, that's like Bill Simmons said on that show that he does with Jalen Rose, that this Golden State team's having like a season, an all-time season, but because they're Golden State, people don't seem to be taking it quite as seriously as they would if it were the Lakers or the Cavs, somebody along those lines.
I bet you people would care if they were the San Francisco Warriors.
Maybe.
Not named after a stupid college. No, like named like a stupid college.
Yeah, as far as I know, they play in Fresno. And then the only competitive series that's actually like interestingly competitive, the Clippers and Spurs. It's been a back and forth. Clippers or the Spurs, I should say, won a tight game in LA the other night. So they're up 3-2 in the series with game 6 tonight in San Antone.
I think the Clippers
Spurs close it out, right?
Yeah, the Spurs close it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim Duncan, he's going to fundamental his way to another championship. Just watch it.
But you know what? He's 30, 39, 40. What is he?
Right.
And he played 46 minutes in Game 5 and was like the best player on the floor.
Yeah.
He's gonna be doing this. He's gonna be doing this at 70. He's just like, hey, he's old and he's slow, but you know what? He's just got a really good eye for the game.
Well, no, seriously though. I mean, he's the reason he's able to do this at this age is because he plays that style of game. He's not the way he plays doesn't put a lot of mileage on his body, if that makes any sense. I mean,
right.
He's not flying through the air, dunking and all that stuff. He's just a guy that plays.
No, he's dunking.
All right, we need to get our people on the phone, get the writers back immediately. Okay, but yeah, that's why. I mean, he's kind of like Kareem in that respect. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was able to play a really long time because it's just the style of game he played, and I think that's what we got with Tim Duncan.
He's not a banger, but he's just better than everybody else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the only other thing I want to talk about this Spurs Clippers series, Reggie Miller was the color analyst for the game on the other day. Late in the third quarter, there was a call that went against the Clippers. So the fans started chanting, "Ref, you suck." Reggie Miller decided to comment, and he's like, I heard that a whole lot in my career. Reggie sucks. What? But what are they talking about? You suck? You suck what? I was like,
Reggie, no.
Reggie. And so you can hear the play-by-play guy, Kevin Harlan, is like, maybe they just thought it was your last name.
Oh, boy.
And it's like, I don't know, Reggie.
Uncomfortable.
What do you think they mean you suck means?
Wow, Reg. Wow.
What do you think, Reggie?
Wow.
Suck what? I don't get it. Like,
Reggie. Reggie Miller provided the most uncomfortable moment of the playoffs to this point.
It's like you just hear the announcer, you kind of pauses for a second, like, how do I break this to him? That was pretty solid move by Reggie Miller.
Okay,
that's your NBA update.
Yeah. Did we pick everything that we were supposed to pick?
You're still waiting for the Spurs to win, the Hawks to win, and the Bulls to win.
Bucks.
Or Bucks.
I hope the Bucks pull this off. Wouldn't that would finally inject a little life into these things, don't you think?
Maybe. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care enough. I mean, it would be nice, but
Cleveland would smack them around in the next round. You know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like if the Bucks pull off the upset here, I'm going to drop the Stanley Cup playoffs and start watching the NBA. So really, it doesn't much matter.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe I'll watch the conference finals. I'll probably watch the NBA finals just as like a courtesy.
I tell you, I watched an NBA game this past week, and I'll tell you why. There were no baseball games on, no hockey games, and I thought, well, I want to watch something sports, and that was what was there. So that's how it got on the TV.
What did you think? What did you take away from your experience?
I ended up playing my video game and not paying much attention to it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner in the 2015 Glorious Tournament of Victory. Just to remind those of you who have probably forgotten at this point who was actually competing, it was Chimpanzee on a Segway taking on Teddy Roosevelt astride a Flying War Orca. And a surprise to no one, Teddy Roosevelt wins the 2015 Glorious Tournament of Victory. But the Chimp, he did okay on the online vote. He picked up around 7 votes, which is 7 more than I thought he'd get. So there's that, I suppose.
Yeah. You know what, though? I think this was probably the best tournament we've had.
Yeah, definitely.
Unfortunately, I don't know. Have we had a truly competitive championship match yet?
No, Batman ran away with his 2.
Yeah, we really haven't.
I mean, but that happens even in the regular tournament that we model this after, where everyone's excited for the Final Four, and then sometimes the championship match is not a big deal.
Yeah,
it happens. It happens in any sport. Conference finals may be great, and then the Super Bowl, the championship, might just be kind of meh.
Yeah, but I think overall, though, it was probably the best of the 3 of the GTOVs we've had. This one was the most competitive throughout until the championship. We had some incredible matchups, and this one turned out the way it was supposed to, I think.
We mentioned early on that once Teddy got on a roll, it was pretty clear that he was one of those forces of nature that would just be hard to contain.
I'm still not so sure. I'm comfortable with him getting past Cosmic Turtle, but okay, the votes are the votes, and that's the way.
Well, the best way to justify Cosmic Turtle was that Cosmic Turtle didn't lose, but that after a well-fought match, he relented and said, "You have proven to be a worthy mortal challenger, and you may pass."
He kind of acquiesced, basically.
And then disappeared into the cosmic ether and allowed Teddy Roosevelt to advance.
Sounds good to me.
Because the Turtle doesn't need to win a tournament. He's still in control of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Online vote, the final score was Teddy 20, Chimp 9. So Chimp kept it close. Well, not close, but
relatively.
I didn't think he would even get any votes. So even that he got 9, I don't know why people voted for him, but I speak on behalf of the Chimp Conference when I say that I'm sure that they appreciate your support. And the Chimp Conference will be back next year, for sure.
As it always is.
As it always is. You can't rule them out. They've made the Final Four 3 straight years, and I'm sure they'll do it again next year. So there you have it. The final in the Glorious Tournament of Victory 2015 edition. Teddy Roosevelt astride a flying war orca is your champion.
And just remember, next season starts today.
Ladies and gentlemen, Zach's Tabs.
Zach's Tabs.
Oh, Mike going with a little bluesy, soulful rendition there.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Well, we'll start off with baseball. If nobody was around to see it, did it actually happen? Baltimore, the Orioles, there's a lot of things going on in the city of Baltimore, obviously.
Yes.
And they played a game with no one there.
And it was weird.
It was kind of funny. The pictures are hilarious. I think it was Chris Davis made it out at first base to end the inning, jogs over to the dugout and throws the ball into the stands like anyone would do normally. And, of course, it just landed with an empty thud. Gary Thorne, the play-by-play guy, pulled out his golf announcing voice for one of the at-bats. He makes an approach at the plate, and he lines it into center field. It lines in for a double, and he's still in play for the Green Jacket.
Yeah, how lucky did he get that Adam Jones hit that double when he did that, too?
Yeah, on the first pitch.
Yeah.
Some of the pictures are funny. The people standing outside the gate in right field trying to watch the game was kind of funny to me, too.
It was interesting. It was, I watched
the game only lasted 2 hours and 6 minutes.
It was an 8-2 final. So, they're having people, because everything else was the same, right? Warm-up time. I mean, it was on television, so there were commercials.
Right.
I wonder what the big difference was.
Time, and there wasn't a lot of fanfare. Guys hit home runs, just kind of went around. They didn't do breaks. The guys just came in and did their job.
Well, maybe that's the solution. Then we'll just not allow fans at games anymore, and it'll speed things up for us.
So we're going to move all Major League operations to Tampa Bay. Game 7, we already talked about, between the Red Wings and Lightning. The Red Wings got another loss in that game. A Red Wings fan was arrested at the Tampa Bay Arena for arson. You know those giant flags?
You beat
those
our
giant
team.
flags that they put over the crowd and have them move around before the game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it went over a Red Wings fan, and this fan decided to pull out her lighter and try to light the thing on fire.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Here's a link to, here's a video. It's just a giant flag. She pulls out a lighter, and
that's a mugshot of a classy woman.
Did she have a reason for this other than?
She was a Red Wings fan, and that was a giant blue lightning flag.
Okay. Oh, look at her.
Yeah.
Well, she's a winner, huh?
Yeah.
According to this article, when security and police responded to the section, she escalated the confrontation. She was originally going to be ejected from the arena, the source said, but once she threw the lighter at cops, And she was arrested, and it's now being used as evidence against her.
She doesn't look the type at all. I mean, I don't understand.
I just assumed that Detroit was full of classy, law-abiding citizens.
Right, exactly, yeah. Arson's that's not like, your typical misdemeanor that you get for, say, running onto the field or something. I mean, arson's a serious offense. If Mike's correct in the fact they were just going to kick her out until she threw the lighter, she might have gone from, say, getting kicked out to, doing some serious time. Then again, by the looks of her, I don't think that's going to be anything unusual.
Yeah. Well, speaking of women fans in sports, an American Arsenal fan, Arsenal is one of the Premier League soccer.
One of London's 52 professional soccer teams.
One for every week of the year.
He needed to see if she was really serious about this relationship.
This sounds like one of those genius boyfriend schemes that backfires.
She could go the distance. So his favorite thing in the world, besides his girlfriend, I would hope, is Arsenal.
Nah, she was number 2 to Arsenal.
So he decided to make a 50-question Arsenal exam, and she had to pass it or he would dump her. He even made a cover page saying that use black ink or a ballpoint pen.
Okay, I'll give him points for that.
Read every question at least twice. He gave her feedback, and after the whole thing, she got a 43.5 out of 50.
Hey, good for her.
And 87% she passed. My question to you guys is, would you ever, with a significant other, to determine that they were truly committed, like, Mike, would you create a Toronto Maple Leafs test? Or Greg, would you create a Ohio State Buckeyes test?
Well,
I'm not sure what that test would consist of.
When is the last time the Maple Leafs won the Stanley Cup?
How much does the pain hurt, on a scale of 1 to 10?
How many nights a year do I cry myself to sleep about the Maple Leafs?
In my Maple Leafs jersey, yeah. I don't know.
It's an interesting concept, I guess.
It is an interesting concept, but you've got to be really confident in your relationship to do it, because
That's true.
This could go horribly wrong. So you better be very confident in things before pulling this card out.
I would not do that with the Buckeyes because, A, she probably knows more about them than I do, so I would look like an idiot.
Well, what team, if you had to craft a test?
Wow, I don't know.
Do you have a favorite team above all teams?
Not really. The Buckeyes.
What about just a baseball test?
She knows a lot about sports, so that's the thing. I mean, I wouldn't have to do that because...
Well, that's probably the thing. I didn't see this. I don't have the full backstory, but I think the only reason you would do that is if you knew that they weren't a huge sports fan, but it meant a lot to you, and you wanted to make sure that they... I don't know. Like
my girlfriend, over the years, some of the guys on the boards think she's a goddess because she's actually into uniforms and logos. Which makes me the luckiest person in the entire world.
Zach's Ducks quiz. Timo Solani, greatest NHL player or best NHL player?
The correct answer is yes.
I don't know. I mean, I'm lucky. I mean, like, to go to the hockey game that we went to on New Year's Eve, that was her idea. To go see the Jackets play who'd they play? The Wild, I think.
Yeah, you were like, oh, this team is completely unimpressive, and they're plus 47 since January.
Well, they were unimpressive back then.
Right, he saw them before they became who they are.
Right, because honest to God,
he didn't see them in their final form.
If you guys remember back when we did the NHL preview at the start of the season, I said I like the Wild as a dark horse to come out of the West, and by New Year's I looked like an idiot, but now I'm hanging with them. But yeah, so she's the only thing that we aren't like, where I don't think it's even a problem, but. Like most people, she doesn't really much care for baseball, like I do. So, but I understand that, and that's fine,
Mm-hmm.
But
does she know how many innings are in a game?
Oh yeah.
How many outs?
Yes. Yeah.
The teams in the league.
She did ask me a question yesterday, and it wasn't even a question so much as okay, is this correct? If it lands fair but goes out before it passes the bag, it's still a foul ball. But if it goes past the bag and then goes out, it's still fair, right? I'm like, yeah, that's exactly right. So. I don't know if there's a quiz I could give her that would not prove her worthiness, I guess is my point. So I guess that's my answer. I don't have an answer.
Well, that answer.
I'd only do it if I could ensure that I could get it done in Scantron form.
I get it. It's a teacher joke.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
More of that witty humor when our writers don't do our work.
Yeah, that was a good one. I just don't think Zach was familiar with it, that's all. I got it. What's next?
Hey, hold on a second, guys.
Uh-oh. We have a timeout on the field. Currently, the score is Zach Tabs 2, Mike and Greg 0.
Wait, you're not waiting till I'm... No, you're... Stop. Leave. Please. Love you. Bye. 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 Close the door, please. Okay, bye.
Oh, I'm leaving this in. This is great.
No, my grandmother is obsessed with airflow in the house. So first I came home, all my windows were open, and I hate that.
You can tell who lives in California out of this bunch. I would kill to have all the windows open right now.
No, I can't open all the windows. It gets, the hot gets in.
It's 90 degrees outside. And so we turned on the air conditioner, and I guess my vent was closed. For some reason, I didn't close it. So she decided to come in here and try to open it with a clothes hanger, and I told her I would do it in a minute because I can reach it. But it had to be done right this second. Anyway. You know the Memphis Pyramid, the arena?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
One of only 3 pyramids in the United States.
One of the others is in Vegas, and
the other one is on the campus of Long Beach State University. But it's been closed, or it hasn't been used for concerts and basketball games since 2004. So it's in the South, and it's a very large structure. What could it be used for more properly? How about a giant Bass Pro Shops theme park, basically?
Really?
Yeah, it has look how big this thing is. Aside from tens of thousands of hunting, fishing, and boating items for sale, visitors can now walk through a man-made cypress swamp, go bowling, or shoot arrows at an archery range. And at the top, there's a 105-room hotel designed like a hunting lodge that has balconies overlooking the indoor swamp. There are also live ducks, alligators, and fish.
Is this like a redneck Disney? Is that what this is?
Yeah.
That's what it seems like.
Pretty much, yeah. You ever been to a Bass Pro Shops?
No, I don't fish.
Any Bass Pro Shop, it's obnoxiously large. There are no small versions of this store. It is huge.
No.
And so in the big main part of the store, yeah, there is the hunting gear, there's your fishing supplies, there's equipment, there's anything you could possibly ever want to go into the wild. But every single one also has a display room that's basically a dead zoo. It has
exactly
100 different deer and alligators and squirrels and foxes and all this other garbage that's like its own it's like a museum to hunting.
Mike, we could walk in there and looking like we do every day in our normal everyday lives and walk out looking like commandos.
Oh, God.
We could have the camouflage, we could get our guns, we could get our bow and arrow if our guns fail, we can get all that stuff, yeah.
Woo!
They built a swamp. They built a swamp inside a building.
Yeah, that's Bass Pro Shops for you.
So
it's redneck heaven, man.
That's America at its finest.
That's exactly, yeah.
Mike's gone, by the way.
Oh, is he? All right, well...
Well, I mean, that's all I got for the tabs.
Okay,
so
well, then we will...
just close it out without Mike.
Yeah, he disappeared off into the wasteland of the internet. We don't know what happened to him, so we'll just close it out here. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Go to the website, basicallyasportshow.com. Stitcher, Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes, and all that other good stuff. And with that, I got nothing left to say.
Neither do I. I have a Go Ducks.
I'm going to say go wild. Go wild. All right, that's going to do it for us. We will see you next time right here on Basically a Sports Show.
Bye.